2017 Ultra Trail World Tour will take us once again in some of the most amazing locations on Earth. Previous locations such as Hong Kong, New Zealand and Sahara did set the bar high, but Canaries Island with the Transgrancanaria most certainly delivered. And so did two new races in the calendar, and we'll go on to discover Croatia with the Istria 100-miler, and then wrap up this edition with the scenic views of the Patagonia run. Last year's winner was Dietrich Hermansen, who finished just ahead of Gediminas Grenius, who was on his way to winning the 2016 Ultra Trail World Tour. In the women's field, Caroline Chavreau started to build her lane in the World Tour right there, taking her first win of the season, finishing ahead of Andrea Hüser. What better place than the Canaries Island to kick off the season when most of the European trail runners are still facing cold temperatures? Only a few hours away from main European capital cities, Canaria's main island offers heat and warm sunshine to all participants of the Transgrancanaria Ultra. They will have 30 hours to complete the grueling 125-kilometer course with no less than 7,500 meters gain over dry tracks and sometimes very technical terrain. As the first European stop of the Ultra Trail season, we'll see runners coming from all ends of the continent, but also a fair amount of American and African runners, such as Ryan Sands, who had won the 2014 edition.
I'm in Gran Canaria mainly to promote my book. It's been translated to Spanish, so I've been in Madrid for a few days and now at the race promoting my book, but I love the island and the race is incredible, so I've decided to run the marathon. I've run the 125 kilometer and the 82, so it'll be nice to try the marathon as well, and then then next I suppose I've just got to do the 360 and then I've done all the races. I really enjoy the experiences with the novice runners and the guys in the middle of the pack or towards the back of the field. And I think it's really interesting to share experiences with them, and I really enjoy hearing their stories as well, because I think everyone shares the same experiences during an ultra race, whether you're running at the front or at the back. You go through the same highs and lows and emotions, and I think everyone's got some similar stories, so it's really cool to share stories, and for me, like most importantly, I really enjoy hearing kind of some of the other novice runners tell me their stories.
Running an ultra is a whole process, and beside the running part, a lot of steps awaits the participants. After months of training and the journey to the island, it's now time to pick up bib numbers and get the mandatory equipment checked. This is always an opportunity to chat with other runners and catch a glimpse of the elite athlete who happily blend in with the crowds.
It's been some weeks since Hong Kong. This is the first real long big race for me. The first of the main goals this season. Feeling good. Nice to be here for the 4th year in a row. Since Hong Kong, I've been putting in more altitude, more elevation in my training. It was more speed sessions before Hong Kong, and now it's I've been trying to trainings with just walking and steep walking and running. So try to prepare for this kind of race, which is more mountain race than Hong Kong. The field is competitive this year, as always, and as last year. So I'm thinking if it was possible to win last year, I think it's possible to win this year as well.
As the name implies, the Transgrancanaria is a point-to-point course that takes the trail runners all the way across the island. They start from Agait, located in the north part of the island, to Maspalomas on the south coast. Another memorable milestone in the ultra journey is the start line. Here, locals cheer on participants playing traditional instruments. For some, that's a great opportunity to turn pre-race stress into positive energy.
Je me sens bien, détendu. C'est la 5e fois que je viens ici, donc je connais le parcours. Et puis bon, c'est une course du World Tour, je sais à quoi m'attendre, ça va partir fort. Donc j'ai un peu imaginé comment gérer tout ça pour que ça se passe bien, donc ça va.
With the headlamps on, the 600 participants of the 125 kilometers ultra are all standing behind the starting line. Whether it's for performance or for pleasure, all have the same goal of reaching the finish line in Maspalomas. Only a couple of minutes left before the start, just enough to take photos and share a few words before heading into the night. Running in the dark is a challenge in itself. With the start at 11 p.m., all runners will have to stay focused to cope with the lack of sleep. Quickly, the sleek pavement of the village make way to narrower and uneven trails. Soon enough, all runners cover the upward trail, forming a continuous string of lights breaking through the night. First, its station at kilometer 16 quickly sees the first runners come through. This is a quick one, not much of a gap, and the pressure to stick with the lead pack is tangible. Fuel and fluids remain the main concern to be able to sustain such long effort, but no time is spared, and they're already back out into the night. At this early point into the race, the key is to find one's pace. The successive portions of road in between narrow trails doesn't make it easy for the runners, but economy is the name of the game. One advantage of running at night is that low temperatures make dehydration or overheating two less issues runners will have to worry about.
I feel like I had a really good experience here in 2014 and ran strong and was even in the lead for a little bit and then lost it towards the end. I felt like I lost a little bit of steam at the end, and so I'm back to hopefully have a stronger finish this year. You know, my objective for the race is to stay with the leaders as long as possible, and whenever I run this long of a distance, it's always kind of me versus myself, and You know, there'll be other people out there, really strong competitors, but I hope to just give my all and at the finish just feel like I left everything out there on the course and I had nothing left. And if I can do that, I'll feel satisfied with the run.
First noticeable event in a race happens in the women's field. Last year, UTWT champion Caroline Chavreau drops out of the race due to stomach issues. In the men's field, it's no surprise to see Pau Capel lead the way. He's followed by Swiss runner Diego Pazos, who's another familiar face of the World Tour.
Je me sens bien. Bon, c'est toujours difficile de s'entraîner en hiver par nos contrées, on va dire. Donc voilà, j'ai fait les kilomètres que j'ai pu. Je suis venu ici reconnaître le parcours il y a 5 semaines, donc je me sens bien. Voilà, en confiance. Maintenant, bon, c'est une course qui est longue et puis il peut arriver de tout. Et il y a des super coureurs ici, donc ça va de nouveau être une super aventure, je pense. Pau Capel, évidemment. Je l'ai rencontré juste avant la course, au fait. Puis on avait été faire le photoshooting de Compress Sport l'année passée, donc le jour avant la course. Et puis après, en course, on n'avait aucune idée. On s'est retrouvés après, à partir de Garagnone. Et à partir de la fin de Roquenublo puis Garagnone, on en a fini ensemble. Et c'est vrai que finalement, un dans l'autre, on se poussait. Et puis c'est un peu naturellement qu'on arrivait ensemble, hein, sans en parler du tout. On s'est juste posé la question à 2-3 km de la fin. Alors bon, il se passe quoi? On finit comme ça ou on sprint? Et puis naturellement, ça paraissait normal de finir ensemble. Et puis ça va dans la philosophie qui est en tout cas la mienne. C'est-à-dire que voilà, si bien sûr tu reviens de l'arrière ou bien tu rattrapes quelqu'un, tu vas faire la course. Mais si tu cours 50 km avec quelqu'un et que tu n'as pas pu faire la différence avant, je vois pas pourquoi je devrais sprinter sur la ligne simplement pour passer devant. Ça fait pas partie de la mentalité, de la philosophie trail, moi je dirais.
Next aid station sees Vaidas Zlabis from Lithuania surge from the back to catch Pau Capel. Behind them come Jordi Gamito and Diego Pazos. French runner is Maxime Casajou, whose crew is an old-timer of the discipline and team partner Julien Chaurier.
J'ai pris la bouteille là? Ouais, là t'as qu'une bouteille, t'as tout pris là. J'ai sorti ça, si t'en reveux un petit peu. Non, c'est bon. Le sandwich. J'ai mangé une cuillère, tu vois. Vraiment pas loin. Tu fais une super course, 5e. Et là, il y a quelqu'un qui est après. Je les ai pas accrochés.
Last year's winner will come through in 6th place and still in the game for the win.
Ska bara skjuta mig på nästa e-sportcykel vann.
Okej, kjempebra. Du ligger...
Är det vann? Har dere vann her?
There's enough fog on the course which makes the night a little colder, but it doesn't seem to affect Pau Capel, who's making a difference on the steep sections, taking full advantage of his running poles. The use of poles is very specific and takes a lot of practice to actually benefit from them, which is why not all runners choose to use them. Sunrise unveils the beautiful landscapes of the island and runners pack away the headlamps and relax a little. They can now see clearer where the trail goes. Rising 80 meters above the ground and culminating at 1800 meters above sea level, the majestic Roque Nueblo is another very good reason to look up. Pau Capel is the first to reach that point, located at kilometer 78. He's cruising light and strong across the ridge, the last year's 8th place finisher from Lithuania still hot on his heels. Jordi Gamito is still holding on to 3rd place. Meanwhile, the clouds around this area give it an even more picturesque feel. Located past the midpoint in the race, El Roque Nueblo is one of the key points on the course. Spectators and crews alike get involved to cheer on the athletes as they run through. Amongst them is 2016 UTWT winner Gediminas Grinius, who's traded his race number for a down jacket this year. Not much time to look around for the leaders, who are already back down the hill and into the pine trees. Experienced runners will take this opportunity to lower down their heart rate and get some fuel in before hitting the next climb.
I have trained for being in Transgrancanaria, and I don't know what will happen in the race because in the front we have a lot of elite runners, Timothy Olson, Gerard Morales, there's a lot of Anton Guillon, a lot of runners, so I will do my race, my time, and I hope arrive in the middle of the day in the finish line. We are here, we are in the world for share the life, I think, and if we can share this passion that is trail running is perfect. Also in the race you want to do your best, so if you can push more, you can do it, but if you can share with someone that can push the same of you, it's perfect.
J'aime bien quand le soleil se lève en fait, c'est super sympa parce qu'on part à 11h le soir, donc la nuit, il fait même un peu frais parfois et il peut pleuvoir un petit peu. Et je sais pas quelle heure c'est, mais peut-être 6-7 heures du matin, il commence à faire jour. Quand le soleil se lève et on monte sur le rocher Nublo au milieu de l'île, avec la lumière sur la roche un peu ocre, un peu rouge, c'est vraiment super sympa. Donc ça donne un petit coup d'énergie, un petit boost, je pense, mi-parcours. Et j'espère que ça le refera cette année. Ouais. Je dirais que Diederik, il doit être le favori quand même parce qu'il a fait une course assez exceptionnelle l'année dernière. Donc moi, je retiens que j'avais quasiment 10 minutes d'avance sur lui, je sais pas, mi-parcours quasiment, je crois. Et qu'il m'a doublé. Quand il m'a doublé, je ne l'ai pas vu longtemps. Hein, donc, et il m'a battu d'une grosse demi-heure. Donc là, ça peut être une leçon de comment faire. Donc peut-être que je ne sais pas s'il va refaire le même truc. En tout cas, moi, je vais essayer de partir encore plus cool pour voir si je peux durer un peu plus longtemps et être un peu plus frais vers la fin.
Despite a cloud inversion on the island, temperatures warm up as the sun rises over the course. After a slower than usual start, Swiss runner Andrea Hüser seems to be catching up with the leaders. The course winds across and down rock formations through lower endemic vegetation and cacti. The beauty equals the difficulty of such terrain, which starts to take its toll on the back of the pack. This moment is what most of the ultra-trailers have come to experience, stepping outside of their comfort zone and push through what often is only a mental barrier. One goal in mind for all: keep a positive attitude and make it to the finish line. The sight of civilization and villages announces the end of the journey. After leading the race from end to end, Pau Capel is about to see his dream come true, win Transgrancanaria. While he finished 8th place last year for his first breakthrough against the world's best ultra-trailer, this year, Lithuanian runner Labis demonstrated his legitimacy and takes 2nd place. He's made a name for himself the same way his fellow countryman Gediminas Karinius did before him. Jordi Gamito rushes through the last 8 stations, feeling the pressure of last year's winner, Diederik Hermansen. The battle for 3rd place is on. "13 hours after the early start, Pau Capel crosses the finish line in 1st place and happily shares this intense moment with the cheering crowds. Slabis finishes second, 15 minutes back. Dietrich Hermansen, who managed to pass Gamito in the later stage of the race, completes the podium, coming in another 15 minutes back. French runner Casaju and Spaniard Gamito will cross the finish line hand in hand for fourth.
I feel very super, a little bit tired, not a little bit, tired, quite tired, but really, really happy. The second place is amazing for me. It's quite amazing. This is a third year in Transgrancanaria race, so quite I know strategy or runners, others runners, so I think it was quite good for me and to win this.
The race is just fantastic. I really liked the run at the night, and it was raining and foggy, so I couldn't see the sunrise, which I normally do. But I had a really nice time in the course.
Anthony Gay, Benoit Girondel, Diego Pazos, Andy Simmons, and Timothy Olson complete the top 10 male runners of this 2017 edition. Coming from shorter distances, Zara Garcia has been racking up wins in ultra races over the past few years. She confirmed her high level, taking the win ahead of Swiss runner Andrea Huser, who was a strong competitor in last year's UTWT.
It was tough. At night I suffered quite a bit because I couldn't start fast. I was very slow and I was a bit angry about that. I was not in a good shape. In the morning I felt better and suddenly I could enjoy the trails and feel very well. So now, yes, I'm very happy.
French runner Mélanie Rousset completes the female podium.
Être sur le podium avec Andrea, ça, je suis contente. Franchement, on était déjà sur un podium ensemble à Albertville, au trail d'Albertville. C'est là-bas que je l'ai rencontré un petit peu et c'est un peu comment on dit, mon idole féminine. Du coup, c'est cool.
En esta carrera lo más difícil para mí fue el hecho de perderme y de perder el margen que tenía de 10 minutos, un margen que lo había ganado a base de apretarme al inicio y después de 40 kilómetros vi que no había servido para nada, ¿no? Entonces, cuando ves que después de una maratón vuelves a estar como al inicio después del esfuerzo que había hecho, mentalmente lo pasé mal porque no sabía si apretar, si reservarme, pero como ya había apretado desde el inicio, pues decidí apretar de nuevo porque pensaba que era el día de hacerlo. Y después el segundo punto más costoso fue a la entrada del calor, para allí a las 10:30, 11. Fue difícil gestionarlo porque bueno, llevas muchas horas deshidratado un poco y el calor hace que aún sea más difícil acabar esta carrera, ¿no? Los últimos 10 kilómetros son una locura porque es un barranco pues, muy duro donde vas recogiendo cadáveres de otras carreras y la verdad que se hace una llegada bastante dura. The Ultra Trail World Tour takes us all across the globe to breathtaking locations.
More known as a touristy destination than an actual trail running one, Croatia hosted the Istria 100-miler, and it showed such potential that it became part of the 2017 Ultra Trail World Tour. The race takes runners across the country from the southeast shore of the Adriatic Sea to the northwest one. 171 km with 7,100 meter game and a 48 hours cutoff to make it to the finish line.
En 2016, le 100 Miles of Istria était une course future parce que c'était une condition pour que l'Ultra Trail World Tour puisse évaluer l'opportunité de les rentrer dans le circuit principal. On a décidé de les rentrer dans le circuit parce que c'est une course qui permet une invitation au voyage, qui offre une expérience unique, qui fait 100 km. Donc elle est éligible à au moins 100 km, elle est éligible à faire partie de l'Ultra Trail World Tour. Et c'est un événement international, familial, populaire, ouvert à tous, avec une atmosphère incroyable. Donc pour nous, c'était clairement une course qui correspondait aux critères de l'Ultra Trail World Tour. Un parcours qui est à la fois technique sur le départ, plus plat sur la fin, mais où il est important de pouvoir relancer avec des aspects vraiment des terrains différents. Donc c'est un parcours qui semble, de ce que j'ai vu et de ce que j'ai entendu de la part des coureurs, vraiment intéressant.
The 3,000 years old medieval town, Labin, is so far the oldest place of the World Tour to host a starting line. It is quite the privilege for the participants coming from 40 different nationalities. And off they are at 4 p.m. on the village's cobblestones. This start time forces the several hundred runners to spend at least one night out, if not two, for the slowest runners of the pack. After spending several days tapering and racing for the race, runners can't help but smile at the idea of the journey that lays ahead. When the sunset lights are shading over the Adriatic Sea shores, they set a magical scene for the first hours of the race. Runners will follow these shores for a while before going westbound and deeper inland.
I targeted based on the fact that it's part of the UTWT and a part of the world I'd never been to before. I'd heard good things about the race from friends who've run it in the past as well, so I figured that now's a good time to take part. And I've done a number of the UTWT races around the world, and all of them are top-notch races and events that I would definitely go back to. And so knowing that this race was part of the tour, that's a good enough testament to the organization and the quality of the course. So.
The first part of the race offers the most elevation change when going through the Piriro Uca National Park. From K25, runners will encounter successive climbs reaching up to 1,500 meters above sea level, offering vistas of the surroundings.
You know, I wanted to run a 100-miler this spring, and I'm from the United States, and right now, there's a few hundreds, but really I kind of, I watch these movies, and I kind of looked at this course, and it's point to point. You start at this ocean,
this part of the sea and you're going up and over these big giant mountains, which, that's a big draw for me. I don't want to do a flat race, and this is not flat. So just seeing that, and I've never been to Croatia before, and that it just sounded like a pretty good adventure. So I, signed up and flew on over.
Only a few hours after the starts come dusk, setting a whole new scene for the participants. A new race starts, calling out to runners' agility and reflexes to flow across technical trails safely, following the beams of their headlamps. The race is on and most certainly doesn't stop at night. Top runners barely slow down the pace as they're familiar with this environment. At aid stations, they meet their crew to optimize transitions. Changing the body clock isn't easy, but eating at night is mandatory to get the calories in. The sun is back and shines once again over the course. Meanwhile, hilly and green landscapes are unveiled to offer ultra runners a whole new set of memories to bring home. Dylan Bowman and Francesca Canepa lead the men's and women's field respectively. After hours spent in the wilderness, runners appreciate the warmth of an aid station. Familiar city walls create a safe environment for them to get some rest. They are now past the halfway point. The second part of the race is more rolling with a downhill profile. An opportunity to soak in the views once again. Dylan Bowman wasn't really challenged and rolls in across the finish line in a winning time of 17 hours and 51 minutes.
I thought this is a phenomenal race. I have traveled to race all over the world, and this is one of the best races I've ever been a part of. The course is phenomenal, the weather was amazing, the organization was fantastic, the volunteers, the course marking was phenomenal. So I was really happy to be part of the race this year, and I'm really happy to see it part of the World Tour because I think it fits really well into the World Tour schedule, and I think a lot of other top athletes are going to want to come soon.
Francesca Canepa wins the women's division.
This year I did a good race from the beginning, so I felt light and calm, excited too, and I was everything good. Just a little cold in the night and warm in the day, but anyway, I was good.
The land of Croatia did offer a wonderful setup for the runners. From first till last, they were all treated with outstanding trail running scenery. Meanwhile, 1,000 miles away from Croatia in the southern hemisphere takes place another race that was included in the 2017 Ultra Trail World Tour. Welcome to the Patagonia Run, where colder temperatures, snow, sharp peaks and frozen fjord awaits the participants. A land of alpinists and mountain people is neighbor to the world's famous Andes. The town of San Martín de los Andes, located near the border with Chile, welcomes runners looking for wilderness and remoteness. They've come from all over the world to put their racing kit and step onto the trail that will take them across fjords and mountains. Amongst the 7 different available distances, the 145-kilometer with 7,800-meter climb is part of the Ultra Trail World Tour 2017. It takes guts and adventurous spirits to toe the line of such a mysterious course.
Y bueno, acá estamos, un nuevo desafío, otra vez, a experimentar ahora 145. No queda otra que ponerse las pilas y bueno, darle para adelante. Son varios kilómetros, varias horas, así que bueno, las mejores las expectativas como siempre.
Despite an obvious rough challenge laying ahead of them, runners show excitement and happiness when they're about to start.
Mucha alegría, contento y bueno, esperando que sea una buena noche, no va, como el año pasado.
They'll have 29 hours to complete an undulating route with elevations up to 1,700 meters high, where rough weather conditions can be expected. And they are off in the streets of San Martín de los Andes, where the crowds have gathered for the special occasion. The course is an anti-clockwise loop starting northbound, heading into the Neuquén province, and heading back towards San Martín. The route is essentially inland, with the 2 main climbs located around the halfway point.
De reggaetón.
At dusk, runners turn their headlamps on and get into a much different groove. In the lead, we find two Argentinian runners, Sergio Trekeman and Gustavo Ismael. They are sticking together as they are making their way into the night. Meanwhile, Adriana Vargas is currently in second place in the women's field. In Patagonia, the fall season most likely means snow. Managing body temperatures and running on slippery terrain now adds on to the difficulty of running through the night.
Soy Sergio Trekeman, vengo desde Esquel, Chubut, y bueno, contento de estar nuevamente acá en San Martín de los Andes en esta nueva edición de Patagonia Run. Por suerte la segunda es ya la cuarta vez consecutiva que corro y he tenido la suerte de ganarla 4 veces consecutivas, así que para mí es una carrera que me ha marcado deportivamente muchísimo por la importancia que tiene esta carrera, ¿no? Que vienen gente de muchísimos lugares y bueno, y haberla podido ganar 4 veces consecutivas me presiona y me motiva mucho para poder este año poder repetir.
The first lights of the following morning unveil snow-covered landscapes. The fog joins the party, making progression even trickier and requiring runners' full attention. After tipping over the last climb, the participants encounter better weather conditions over a more runnable course. Patagonia's great outdoors open up to offer vistas of its lower-level mountains, dense forests, and iconic fjords. Such variety in both terrain and weather conditions favored the local runner. Sergio Trekeman, who pulled away in the second part of the course, crosses the finish line in first place and earned his first win in the Ultra Trail World Tour. After over 18 hours of maintained effort, the victory is happily shared with family and supporters. Coming all the way from Spain and 15 years younger than Trekeman, Jose Gasca takes second place ahead of another Argentinian runner. In the women's field, Adriana Vargas, also from Argentina, will cross the finish line in first place and in a very strong 7th position overall after an impressive run. Teresa Nimes is the runner-up in the women's field and also manages to sneak into the top 10 overall. Well done, ladies! Participating in such an epic event is a personal achievement for all. After pushing through ups and downs, mental and physical challenges, finishers begin to realize what they have accomplished, and all emotions burst out in tears of joy. Such emotions are the most valuable reward for all finishers in a race of the Ultra Trail World Tour.